All right, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. I am joined with a special guest, Dexter Henry. You know him from New York Post, SNY. He also does updates on WFAN. He hosts SNY Shorts, Rapid Rundown online. He's also the host of New York Got Game, one of the better basketball shows online with about the Knicks and everything. And he's also the host of a UFX Fox Sports MMA, right? What's that all about?
No. So it's not MMA, but it's a extreme calisthenics competition. I started doing that this summer, Bob. It's really fun. We just finished the championship match. That was really good. It was a fun season. I mean, these are athletes that you don't even think about. You know, you've seen calisthenics. You've seen people doing pull-up dips in the parks. These are men and women who do this to the extreme. It's a fantastic competition. So if you haven't checked it out, UFX Urban Fitness Extreme on Fox Sports.
Yeah, really fun. I see you post about it all the time, and I caught an episode one time, and it's crazy. It's almost like a parkour type thing, right? Is it something like that?
It's a little mix of that. You think about some stuff that you see in parkour. So think American Ninja Warrior with like calisthenics, two teams going against each other and competing. It's really fun.
But today we're here to talk about the Knicks. And last night we were just talking before we came on. A rough loss for the Knicks. They're off to a 5-6 start. Sort of disappointing so far. What do you think about the slow start? And are you worried about the slow start? Are you concerned about anything that's going on with this team?
I'm not as concerned as maybe some other people are, right? I wasn't shocked that I thought they could go 5-5 through the first 10. They did. There are some losses, I think, if you're a Knicks fan, that should bother you. I definitely feel like the loss last night should bother you. I think the loss last week in Atlanta should bother you. And a little bit, I'll say, of Indiana on Sunday. My concern with the Knicks is not offense. It's not offense, Bob. The offense is fine. They're second in the league in offense. It is efficient. And I still don't even think the offense has hit his peak. I still don't even think they've looked their best, which is scary. The defense is what's concerning me, and then them playing with their food, playing down to their opponent. That's what's been concerning to me. The defense, they've shown you against Milwaukee. They showed you against Philadelphia. They can play really good defense when they lock in, which tells you they're playing to these upper echelon teams. The first time they played Indiana, when they played Miami, we saw a pretty solid defense, but it's been inconsistent. The defense is right around 18 in the league. They've got to get that up to about, I think, 13, 14, 15. If they get it up there, they could be better. When I say I'm not worried, is because I think it was going to take this team some time to gel. You got 3 new people in the starting lineup. You got a new player integrating Cat, although Cat's look fantastic offensively. Is defensively where he needs to clean some things up. But I think this team will take time. Let's see where this team is after 25 games. Let's see where they are when Precious Achiuwa is back and healthy. Mitchell Robinson comes back and is healthy. I think that those 2 players will help the defense a lot and will help cut down on some of the minutes these guys are playing. Let's see where they are after 25 games. If they're 25 games and they're, or 30 games and they're 15-15, then you want to be concerned. I think it's fine. But right now, no. I'd say my concern level is more the defense, and I put it probably at about a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Now, this team was built, though. This team was built also, don't remember, to be a top team in the East. You could take time to gel, but during that time, you got the Cavs 13-0. You got Boston 10-3. These teams could build leads. The Knicks are already 7 back in the Eastern Conference. When do you want it? It's got to gel pretty quick, right?
Yeah, that's why I think the next 10 to 15 games are really important. And I thought last night was the beginning of a stretch of games that they really need to take seriously with Chicago. Obviously losing there. They got back-to-back games against the Nets. Then I believe it's the Wizards on Monday before they go out west. So they have to beat these teams that they need to beat. To your point, Bob, about Cleveland and off to their good start, 13-0, Boston 10-2. Yeah, you don't want to get too much behind those guys. You're probably not going to get the 1 seed. I don't think that matters as much for the Knicks. I'm not sure Cleveland will lock it up. Cleveland's going to go through some rough patch at some point.
Yeah.
I think they're good. I think the difference in that is what I've been saying on a lot of shows I've been appearing on. It's the continuity, right? They are 13-0. Their guy, they didn't make many changes. Their guys have stuck together. Their major change was a new coach in Kenny Atkinson. So I'm not really surprised at that with Cleveland, to be honest. I think Cleveland looks better, but I think Cleveland still has a lot to prove. If you're a Knicks fan, you want to be playing your best ball towards the end of the season. You want that defense to be better. You want to know what the identity of this team is. Like I said, the offense is so good. I'm not worried. You saw that last night, how they were able to come back, even though they lost it in the end. The key to them coming back, though, You look at the offensive position, it was defense. They used defense to really spark that run. When they lock in and play defense and play good defense, this team could be as good as anybody in the league. But they have to play consistently, and they have not done that so far.
Now, I was telling you before, I was concerned because I just get a feeling like it feels like it might be a disappointing year, only because last year was the year. It's the kind of they're following the roadmap of like last year they fell just short, but they advanced. They did the first thing they've done in a long time, make it to the conference, almost make it to the conference final, and this year they're kind of coming off slow. Now, I was all for the trade. I don't know how you couldn't like Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, he's a top player. He's a 7-footer that could shoot threes, and he's just a top offensive player in this league. But like little things like the Brunson shot last night, that goes down last year. That goes down last year, and it's still early. It's so early, but I think they're going to be okay. But you want to be in that top two spots in the East. I think, right?
Yeah, I think top 2 or 3. It's funny. I was somebody early in the year. I was a little higher on the Cavaliers than some other people. I said it wouldn't shock me if they finished top 2 in the East. The Cavaliers. I thought they could be a good regular season team. That doesn't mean I think they'll be a good postseason team. Those are two different things. Yeah. I thought the Knicks could take some time to figure some things out. People got to remember last year the Knicks started 5-5 as well. So and he won 50 games. So. That's and I think this year's team is more talented. I don't think they're as deep as last year's team, but I think they're more talented than last year's team. And so that's also the reason why I'm just like, all right, let's just wait. We've seen 5-5. I know they're 5-6 now through 11 games. Let's see how they respond. I think they're starting to figure some things out. I think they can build on what they did. Cali came back last night, how they played against Philadelphia. I think they know the defense has to be better. The team has been talking about it. Josh Hart's been talking about it. Karl Anthony Towns has been talking about it. Look, now you got to do it. But I think the key in that is beating the teams they're supposed to beat. I said the next 2 games, but really the next 3 games, to me, are all must-wins. You got to win. You got to get back above 500, hopefully 2 games above 500 before you head out west on the road. And you're at home. You got to win these games at home. You have to establish the Garden as a place that people don't want to play. And know it's going to be tough to come in and play. And the Knicks really have to do that. I think how they respond, and the Knicks have played well on the road this year thus far. So that's actually a good thing. They've only had 3
home games.
Right. That's another thing. They've had a heavy road schedule. When you consider that, and especially with all the stuff with the new team, it's really not that bad. But you want them to head back out west with some confidence, playing good. A 3-game winning streak would be nice going out west. And then see what they do out there. They have winnable games out there. And I think it wouldn't shock me if we talk about this, Bob, and they win these next couple of games and go out west and they have a good trip 4-1. And we're talking to you. You text me in a couple of weeks and you're like, okay.
What the hell were we worried about?
Yeah.
And it's funny that you said about last year too, because I was sitting there bitching and moaning last night, and just about an hour ago when I was putting everything together, I was like, the Knicks, and she goes, my wife sitting in the couch right in front of me, she goes, yeah, but they did the same thing last year. They were no good in the beginning. I was like, you know what?
She remembers. I like that. Shout out to your wife. She remembers.
Yeah, she remembered. Now, what? Mikal Bridges, he's he comes over from the Nets. He's not scoring the way we used to. You think that's still just a gel thing, getting used to everything with maybe Brunson and Cat and everything going on? What do you think? What's up with Bridges?
I do, because I think he's trying to figure out like where he fits in the offense. One thing I did like from last night, it's a small positive. When the Knicks were coming back in that run, Mikal Bridges was doing a lot of shot creation in that and had the ball in his hands and was creating for others. And I like that. I think Thibodeau has to figure out spots when he's in the starting 5 to allow him to do a little bit of that, to feel more comfortable. The shooting from mid-range has been fantastic from him. The 3-point shot from the corners has been good. Above the break, he hasn't shot the ball well. I think that'll come. I think he's just figuring out where he is in this offense. OG Anunoby looks more comfortable than he does right now. OG Anunoby's played really well. I think he's played like a fringe all-star. But Mikal Bridges, I think it's going to take time. I was a little concerned at times because I wasn't seeing the defensive effort that I would have liked for him. That actually bothered me more. But he's really picked it up, I would say, the last 3 or 4 games and has looked good on the defensive end. He hasn't been the problem. I think the shot with him will come. I think it's just taking time for these guys to adjust. The easiest person I think that's adjusted in this, Bob, It's probably on the offense. It's probably been Karl Towns. He's looked fantastic.
Yeah, but he's a top 10 player anyway, right? He's gonna look fantastic.
But he looks, you know what I see with him? He looks more aggressive than I've ever seen with him putting the ball on the floor and taking it to the rim. He sees certain centers and the centers that can't guard him. Like you saw this again with Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez couldn't do nothing with him last Friday.
Brook Lopez is amazing to me. He's been in this league forever, and he just plays so well. You know,
it's changed his game.
Changed his game. He went from like an inside play to a 3-point shooter. He's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But Karl Towns was giving him the blues, right? And,
yeah.
You know, Karl's been good, but Mikal, I think, is going to be fine. I think he's the perfect guy. I think what Knicks fans want to see is they want to see him be that clear number 3 option, right? That it's been more OG than him so far. I think they want to see him be the clear number 3 option, but I think there's going to be nights OG has it, nights he has it. I love the two of them. I think they're the 2 best wing defenders in the league. They're going to be fine. I'll say this. I'm not worried about anything with the Knicks offense. That is the part I'm not worried about.
There's 2 groups of Knicks fans right now. There's the Knicks fans like you, and then there's Knicks fans like me who are like, oh, here we go again. Here we go. You know, they're not playing well. And to be honest with you, the more reasonable side is you, because with 10 games, they're going to be playing until next spring. It's not even It's not even Thanksgiving yet. So it's such a long season. You know, you can't really live and die with each game like that. But, and you're right, they're probably going to be okay. Now, whose team is this? Is this Brunson's team, or is it Karl-Anthony Towns' team?
Oh, no, it's still Brunson's team. It's still Brunson's team. The captain is the captain. I think Karl-Anthony Towns has had the better offensive season.
He's a better
Brunson
player.
Brunson, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I'm actually glad it started this way, because I think I think Brunson's also adjusting to he doesn't have to be the hero as much anymore. And so it takes a little pressure off him. He's going to learn to trust his teammates more. He knows what Cat can do. I think it's good that it's starting this way. Brunson, he has not shot the ball well. Has been very inconsistent. It's not terrible. He's just been inconsistent. He's had some good shooting games, some non-good shooting games, some just average games. I think the thing with him, Bob, that I've liked, this is why I love Brunson. Brunson never lets mediocre shooting or bad shooting affect his game. He has been even better as a floor general than I've ever seen him. He's trying to get the ball to other guys. His assist to turnover ratio is the best of his career right now. So that shows you, that's the mark of a winning player to me. And he can adjust his game. Brunson's going to figure out more stuff with Cat. That pick and roll is so deadly.
Yeah.
He's going to figure out where Mikal, he's played with Mikal, but where Mikal likes it in this offense. OG likes it. I think I've said this all before this year. I thought Brunson's assist numbers, but I can go up. I'm even surprised the turnovers have gone down with him. That's probably even more surprising, but I like it because I think it bodes well. Brunson, when he needs to close, is still going to be fine. He also is the last player in the starting lineup I worry about. Okay, despite he hasn't shot the ball amazing, Jalen Brunson is not the guy I'm worried about. That's the guy I want in any fight with me.
Yeah, we're done worrying about Brunson, right? I think he's proved himself enough where we're okay. Brunson will be okay. You could just kind of put him down. Don't worry about it. He's going to do his thing. He will figure it out, whatever's wrong. And out of a point guard, you're not looking for a ton. He's averaging almost 25 points a game. And out of a point guard, that's the facilitator. You know, the offense runs through him. He doesn't have to score a ton of points. He's got to not make mistakes, don't turn the ball over, and be the floor general out there. And I think you're right. I think he's the leader, and I think he does run the offense, and he'll be fine and everything. But now you say you think it would be successful if they get to the conference finals. Now, are they bad? Can they beat Boston? I think they could have beat Boston last year if they got there.
I think if they were healthy, they would have gave Boston a run for their money last year. I really believe that with the way they were playing, the confidence. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone as far to beat them, but I thought they could push them to 6 or 7 games. Can they beat Boston this year? Sure. If they play to their potential, sure. I think they have the team to do it. It sucks that we have to wait till February.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next. I can't wait for the next Knicks Celtics game because the Knicks is going to be fresh in their mind. Not fresh in their mind, it'll be far, but I'm sure it's at the front of their mind now.
Yeah, but it's tough going in there on opening night. They got the banner going rough.
Yeah,
they're getting their rings. That's a tough spot.
Tough spot, right? And look, the Celtics shot the lights out. I think the Knicks will have learned. They'll have cleaned a lot of things up by then. Maybe it's a good thing, Knicks fans, that you'll see the next matchup in February. There'll be time. You'll see how the Knicks have grown, how the Celtics grown. Celtics are a great team. The Knicks have the team designed to beat them, I think offensively, it's can they get closer to the Celtics level defensively that'll make the difference, I think, when those two teams play. That's the thing you're looking at as a Knicks fan. I think this is the number one thing to focus on. Are they getting better defensively as the year goes on? If they do that, that'll put them into true championship contention. I think they're already contenders, but can you close that gap between you and the Celtics? It's going to be about defense.
Yeah, I don't think Thibs is going to. He's the kind of coach. He's a defensive type of coach like that. He max effort from his guys. He demands it, and stuff like rebounding and defense. A lot of it's effort, right? A lot of it's just trying, staying in front of your guy. The rebound is all effort. Who wants it more on the boards? Who goes up there and who wants the ball more? A lot of that is effort, and I think they got the right coach to lead them in through this, and they've done it the right way. So now you got back to back, home and home, I guess, against the Nets coming up. Tomorrow night, I guess, is the one of the NBA Cup games. Now, I don't. Am I an outlier here? I could care less.
You're that guy. You don't like the NBA Cup?
You don't tell me you like it.
I do.
Do you care if the Knicks win the NBA Cup?
That's interesting. That's a good question. Do I care? No.
The courts are cool. But
So this is how I've been explaining it to people. I'm a big fan of English Premier League soccer.
Yes, I know.
Right? I'm a big Liverpool fan. So I'm used to seeing in-season tournaments and different competitions, so it doesn't bother me. And it's cool, but I'll put it like this. If Liverpool doesn't win the FA Cup, I don't care. It's a lesser cup. If they don't win the Carabao Cup, I don't care. Now, Champions League, which is the best team in Europe, that I care about a ton, right? Liverpool actually top of the standings for that right now. But I think that it's interesting. I like that it's something that gives a little bit of juice. I thought the players last year really cared about it and played hard.
That's the question, is do the players care? Because that's what's going to make the difference.
And I thought that made a difference last year. I saw players caring. They were caring about the point differential. They were playing hard in these games. You see it. And players are saying, hey, look at that Mavericks Warriors game the other night. That game was tremendous. I like a little juice to the early in the regular season. I thought the NBA needed it. I understand what they're trying to do. I also understand if people are saying, hey, this is not a real championship. I don't care. I understand that too.
Who won it last year? Who won it last year?
The Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers. Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
I want to see if you knew.
It's a cool thing. It's another trophy. The players get some extra money. Oh, cool. That's why I said care is a strong word, Bob. Do I really? If the Knicks when the Knicks got knocked out, I think they lost to Milwaukee last year. I don't think there were a whole bunch of Knicks fans bummed about that. Like, I don't think they were like, oh man, they lost. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, now if they win it, is it a nice thing? Sure. Could it be a building block? Indiana was in the finals. They of the NBA Cup.
Fair
they
point.
made it to the conference finals. I think it could be a nice spark plug for your team, a building block.
But do you want to be the fan base that's like, you don't want to be the fan base that's celebrating the NBA Cup.
Bob, we are both New Yorkers, okay?
Yeah.
We know the Knicks have not won since 1973. I'm gonna just give a PSA to all the fans. If you're a true Knicks fan out there, Bob is right. You can't. If they win the NBA Cup, you can be happy about it.
Don't mention it. Keep it to yourself.
Cool. You can't be outside. You can't be outside on 7th Avenue jumping up and down. You can't ask for a ticker tape parade. No.
Because I think they made a fool. I think they did that. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago when they won a home playoff game in the first round.
The Bing Bong game.
The Bing Bong game. And they're climbing light posts, and I'm like, come on, get it together. It's New York City. And most of these guys are Yankee fans, right? They're Giants and Yankee fans, most Knicks fans. So let's be real. Don't act like you've never seen this before. Act like you've been there before. Don't be climbing light posts in 7th Avenue outside of Madison Square Garden because you're up 1-0 or they were down 2-1 or whatever it was. And the Bing Bong is great. I love the Bing Bong, but I mean, come on, let's be real.
I'm with you. You can't just a PSA to the folks. If they win the NBA Cup, you can't be climbing up the light poles on 7th Avenue. Listen, you can be happy about it. You can say it's a nice thing for the Knicks, and we will clap, we'll salute them, all that stuff. But act like you got to save that for the championship.
Yeah, act like you've been there before. Don't act like Jets fans. Don't if the Jets win ever, which they clearly won't after this year, but if the Jets win ever, Jets fans are allowed to do that. They don't know how to act. They haven't been there before. Mets fans even, listen, we get a little out of hand, but Come on, the Knicks. I know it's been a generation, but let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. Now, what do you think about what do you think about LeBron and what he's doing? Are you ready to say? Are you ready to do say that LeBron's better than Jordan? Are you ready to say that yet, or what's the what's the deal? I know I argued with you last time. Come on, another triple double last night. Yeah, I do too. But another triple double last night. It's unbelievable what he's doing.
Nah, here's what I will say, and I think this is undeniable. We have never seen anybody this good at this age ever. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Right? Like you can't deny that. And if somebody wants to use that for the argument that why they think LeBron is better than Jordan, here's the thing. I think it's fair. I am at the point where I can say it's fair. Like I don't really have something to contest on somebody with that, right? Like longevity does matter. I mean, Kareem, who's one of the greatest players that sometimes doesn't get mentioned and should more and more, Kareem was not as good in his later stages as he was, and he played a long time, right?
Well, nobody is really, except
nobody
us.
is.
I mean, yeah.
LeBron cannot defend the way he used to for 48 minutes, and he's got to conserve his energy, but he can still in spurts, which still impresses me. He's flying down the court, he's going up for dunks, he has a triple double, he can play efficient basketball. Yes, it's not the way it even looked 5 years ago, but man, he's still amazing. I mean, it's crazy. He's probably still a top 10 player.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe he's top 10 to 12 player still, and it's amazing. It's amazing what he's doing. I feel like Jordan's the best player I've ever seen. But if somebody wants to say LeBron, that's an argument I'm getting. I'm not really mad at. I see the point. I'm not mad at it. Right.
Like the problem with that argument is most people think like if we're having that argument. A lot of people on during that argument, you'll think that I'm saying Jordan sucks. Jordan, obviously, we're talking about 1 and 1A here. It's not like and you're not saying LeBron sucks. Of course not.
Right. Yeah, I think that's where I am. It's like, all right, you want to put either as one? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're splitting hairs.
Which is why when I say I hate the argument, I think that's why I hate the argument, because of what you said. People take it as like if you say one's better than the other, you're saying the other sucks. It's like, nah, it might just be, you might prefer one style, you might value longevity, somebody you might value more winning. You might look at it and say LeBron faced more competition, which is a fair point. In the era that he played in, you might say it was tougher to play defense in LeBron's era, which I would agree. There's a whole bunch of things I could see, and you have a good point. So either way, you want to pick LeBron, you want to pick Jordan, it's not gonna bother me.
Now I don't like I feel like it's nepotism with his kid coming, because I don't think his kid's really good enough to be in the league, and he's down in the G League now. And now, did you see that he's not making road trips, and he's not what are we doing?
I have a problem with that.
Yeah, me too. You don't?
Brian Windhorst talked about it, and I thought he said it perfectly. Listen, there's nepotism in every industry. It's in my industry, in sports broadcasting. You'll see in every walk of life. What you do, Bob, somebody, their son, their daughter, and they get in the spot. It happens. Now, they took LeBron. Now, was Bronny probably the 55th pick? Probably not, right? I thought he should have went back and played another year of school. But LeBron wanted to play with his son. I'm not really mad at him for that. This was my thing the whole time. Okay, you did it. You drafted him 55th. You give him the 4-year contract. He also probably got more money than any 55th pick would have got, right? But whatever. I've talked about this before in other places. When I was at Summer League this summer and I saw him play, I talked to somebody who works for the G League, and they said to me, hey, Dex, they're going to, they're going to have him up in the beginning of the season. They're going to send him down with the South Bay Lakers, and that'll be that. And I said, okay, that's not a bad thing, because you get the circus out the way.
He played with his kid.
He played with his kid. He got in the court with his dad. I thought it was nice they had him in Cleveland too, back home. The guys are from Akron. Cool. This part, and this is the reason, maybe it's different. The reason I am concerned, and I do not like this news, that if it's, about, he's not going to be playing with the team on the road, they are doing that kid a disservice. If you truly care about his development, this is truly about his development. And here's the thing, I want to be very clear on this. Bronny has the tools to be I think he could be a good 3-and-D player in the league if he's developed properly. I do believe that.
Okay.
But if you care about his development, Bob, you can't give him preferential treatment from the other guys in the G League. So you're not going to have him travel with those guys. Now those guys, when he comes back, he's only playing home games. They're looking at him like, yo, are you really down with us? Are
Oh
you
yeah,
really
you're
with
not
this
on the
team?
team. You're not part of the team there if you're doing that. You're not
Right.
part of, they all
And
resent you a little bit.
nah, and if you played sports, you all know if everybody's not locked in, then that's not a good thing. So now you have that. Then when he comes up and if he does get some time with the Lakers, now guys are like, hey, you're only here because your dad, you got all this other stuff. So Bronny's put in this impossible spot. He really is. So I just think I feel bad for the kid because I don't even think he wants any of this in this way. Let the kid treat him like a true G leaguer. Let him go on the road.
Yeah.
Get him reps.
Doesn't matter who your
let him
dad is.
develop. No matter who your dad is. I understand nepotism exists, and it's not going to stop. And people get their kids opportunities all the time.
Fair enough.
But if you're gonna do the work, let them do the work. Is all I'm saying. And that's where I have a problem. It just concerns me for Bronny because there's going to be a lot that comes his way. There's going to be a lot of trash talking to him on the court about his dad and daddy got you here, is not here to save you and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But what I'm questioning with the Lakers is, do you truly want to develop this young man? That's the question.
And the Lakers are good. The Lakers aren't just like throwing the season away. They're now 7-0 at home. They played well. They're off to a good start. The Lakers are good. You know, like you can't just be throwing guys in there because I'll let my kid play. You know, you can't be doing that. Now speaking of jerks, who I think he's a jerk, and I could be wrong. I don't know him personally. JJ Redick. Right? I mean, he's doing a good job. No, on ESPN, he seems like, to me, he just comes off as a jerk. He's Duke, so he's already, like, you already kind of don't like him because he's a Duke. But
Understood.
I mean,
Understood with the whole Duke thing. I understand.
He's got that whole Duke, I don't like you guy. He's straight out of Central Casting for that one. But he's done a good job.
Nah, he has. He has. A lot of people were saying the vibes were good around that team before training camp. You know, I'm always like, pause on vibes. You know, I don't know sometimes. Look, the players seem to like him. They seem to be responding to him. He seems to be coaching them hard. AD is looking amazing. I think that's the key for the Lakers. AD is playing like an MVP.
I used to think AD was no good, was not a winner. I used to think he was soft, and he wasn't. And he wasn't. He's kind of proven me wrong the last couple of years.
Him taking this jump that he is at the point in his career is what the Lakers need if they want to extend more of LeBron's career. He had to become the number one option, and this is what he's doing. I think that's been key. Some of the young players, you know, Austin Reeves, who I love, is playing very well. Dalton Connect, the rookie, he's been good for them off the bench. They still can get some other pieces back with Jared Vanderbilt. So I love what JJ Redick has done. I understand why you don't like him because of the Duke stuff. And you know, I'm one of the people who used to love to hate Duke and root against them. So I get it. But yeah.
Also, what about the press conference? He comes in there and he starts dropping F-bombs. Your first thing you do as a member of a new company is you come in and you start throwing around F-bombs in a press conference just for no reason at all. For no reason at all. There was no reason for it. And it was I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way, I guess.
I don't like it. It wasn't a good look. You know, I didn't know what his motivation was with that. Like, was he trying to fire up the organization and give them a little bit more life? Also, doesn't seem very much and I'm putting air quotes on this, the Lakers way.
Yeah, I guess not.
To that, so I don't know, but I got it. The coachings looked good. The players seem to be responding to him. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
You're right. Winning. It's all that matters is if you win as a coach. They're going to forget all about that. If he loses, they'll bring it up. If he wins, it'll be forgotten about. Now, the Knicks last week, Hubie Brown, one of the best guys in basketball. He's been around forever. He still does games at like 90 years old. His son passed away, Brendan Brown. I had spoken to him. We had gone back and forth about coming on the show a little bit. I always liked him. I don't know if did I miss it? Did the Knicks do anything about his passing? Did they? Because I know he got fired from the radio end a couple of years ago from ESPN. I guess it's ESPN he worked for because they do the radio side. But what do you think about that, Brendan Brown? I mean, it's a sad story.
I believe I don't remember if it was Breen and Clyde. They mentioned it on the broadcast.
Yeah, but don't the Knicks have done something?
Yeah, and I'm not sure that they did because I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure I saw they did anything. And so their first home game back would have been yesterday.
Was it last night?
Right?
Yeah, and I didn't see anything last night. I
missed the first half of the game, so I could have missed it.
I watched it, but they could have done a moment of silence. I could have missed it, but still, I mean, for nothing else, because of Hubie. I mean, Hubie's a big part of the Knicks,
right.
You know?
Right, and coached and everything, and but I will say this with Brendan Brown, great guy. Everybody in, I think that around that covers the Knicks around the team has said that. Great guy. Got to talk to him at games. And my condolences to his family, his wife, and his kids. I've seen his wife posting beautiful messages and tributes for him on Facebook because we were connected on there.
Okay.
And yeah, no, a great guy. Talked to everybody. Great person to talk to basketball about. Very gracious of his time when you were around him with the Knicks media, talking to other media. Great guy. And there's nobody in the media that would have had a bad thing to say about Brendan Brown.
Yeah, no. I just thought the Knicks should have done something.
Yeah, I didn't see that. And it's funny. Now you're going to make me now I think about it. I could have truly missed this.
Yeah, we could have both missed it. We could be wrong. But I was kind of looking for it, and I was reading today a couple of articles and stuff, just trying to see if I did miss it, because I thought it was, because I saw it last week and I was like, I was taken aback by it, and I was like, wow, and it happened, I think, like it was election day or the day after, so it kind of got buried with everything else that went on. And I like I said, I'd spoken to him a couple times, and it seemed terrible to me. I mean, 50-some years old, we're getting there. We're getting there, Dexter. And to have someone die at that age like that it's sad.
Yeah, I was just looking at something because his funeral was Monday morning, Tuesday morning. And I was just looking through my coworker Stephen Bondi.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going through his tweets from last night, seeing if he had said anything about it. And I felt like that I would have seen one of the beat writers post that. I didn't see Steph. I didn't see Ian. I didn't see James Edwards or anybody post something about it. I would have caught that because I was en route home during the first half.
Because to me, it felt like, okay, we forgot about it already. It's a week later, and okay, we're moving on. But like I said, if nothing else for Hubie. 90-year-old guy's got to bury his son, and he's been a big part of your franchise and a big part of the Garden, and he's coached the Knicks, and he's still broadcasting, and he's 90 years old, and he's still sharp as a tack, and to have that happen, to me, I think it was, if they didn't do anything, I'm going to say if they didn't do anything, it was a bad job by the Knicks.
Right. Yeah, I hope that they did. The Knicks are usually good at that stuff, which is it's funny because I was looking at something Iron Eagle and Sarah Kustok on Yes. They paid tribute to him.
I think Ian worked with him. A little bit for some reason.
Yeah, and they paid tribute to him. Sorry about this. I'm looking.
No, because I'm curious myself. I was curious about it myself.
I am too, and I mean, honestly, I got to be honest. From just scanning really quickly, it doesn't seem like there's anything out there. This is something. Again, like I said, I'm sure the people that cover the team and even more plugged in than me would have seen something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I haven't heard Hubie speak. I mean, Hubie's probably he's probably beside himself. He probably hasn't spoke publicly yet. But I mean, I haven't heard him say anything, and I don't know. I'm guessing he's taking a leave of absence. And ESPN, doesn't he work for ESPN? Is he might be TNT still, right? He might be.
No, he's ESPN.
He's ESPN.
Hubie's ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway, now condolences to his family. We'll do something on this show about it. We'll at least mention it. So, you covered I wanted to touch on the Liberty. You covered the Liberty. You were all over that during that championship thing. Give us a reason why people should tune into the Liberty and the WNBA besides Caitlin Clark.
Oh, the WNBA is fantastic. I will say this. I've always been a fan of the WNBA, but I would say in the last 6 seasons, I've followed it really, really closely. I've covered the Liberty closely the last 2 seasons. Listen, if you like basketball, and you are open-minded enough to understand that it is not the men's game, right? Like, it's fine that it's not the men's game. I would say it's more a fundamental game. It's definitely more of a below the rim game. But it's really good basketball. I think if you're a fan of 90s basketball and like a little bit more physicality in your defense, you're going to see that in this league. It's great. The talent in this league is better than ever. The women are amazing. Asia Wilson is amazing. There's women who've been trending up. It's been on such this nice upward trend. And then we got Caitlin Clark, who's dope. And
did you see her golf shot yesterday? Did you see her golf shot?
I saw that yesterday. I saw that yesterday. Somebody sent it to me.
She almost killed the guy.
Yeah, I know.
That's the scary thing about playing golf with people watching. She shanked one. If you didn't see it, she shanked one. It went dead left, and you got the gallery standing there, and almost killed a couple people in there.
Yeah.
Luckily, it missed.
Luckily, she missed. I'm sure Caitlin Clark was relieved about that. But
so embarrassing.
And the Liberty. This is what I'll tell people in New York. If you haven't been to a Liberty game, If you have not pulled up to Barclays Center, do that. Barclays Center is rocking. They've been selling it out for the last 2 years.
They sell it out regular season?
Oh, yeah. There was some regular season sellouts this year. There was a couple. Last year, they didn't sell out in the regular season. They sold out in the playoffs.
Okay.
This year, the first game, the home game, was against the Fever. So that was a very interesting game to be at because there was tons of Liberty fans, but there was tons of Caitlin Clark fans in there. And I would tell you, Caitlin, the couple of games, I went to a bunch of games this year. It was probably about 10 games or 15 games or whatever I was this year. Most of the home games I was at. The 2 games that always will stand out to me was the first home opener against Caitlin Clark, because that was the first time I think they had a regular season sellout. And they also had a sellout when the Sky came in, again with Angel Reese.
Okay. And
just seeing there was tons of Liberty fans, but the amount of Angel Reese jerseys and the amount of Caitlin Clark jerseys for their respective games, it was such good to see. It was almost like if you go to another arena, sometimes the Knicks arena, you play another popular team on the road, and you'll see a lot of Steph Curry jerseys.
The Steelers come into town. You got all the terrible towels like in Washington last week.
I like that. I'm a Steelers fan, so I like that. Right?
Okay.
And you see that, and you love it. It's good for the game. It shows you where the game is growing. But the basketball's so good, and this Liberty team is good. They're fun. They have a great chance to go back to back next year. And I'll tell people, this is no shade to the Nets, but the Liberty games are way more lit than the Nets games. Trust me. Yes.
What's up with New York sports, where the Liberty are the best basketball team and the Red Bulls are the best football team in the town?
The Red Bulls. We can't forget the ladies. Gotham FC.
Oh
yeah, they won the WSL last year.
Right. And I like Caitlin Clark. I do. But I didn't like is how it got political, which is it's ridiculous that it got political, and there was one side this and one side that, and like, come on, one side Angel Reese, one side, and it almost got racial even. And like,
it did.
Let the two girls play.
It did.
Yeah, absolutely.
It did. And it's funny. I was having this conversation with Robin Lundberg, who was on with me this week, and he and I were talking about it. He and I had a conversation during the playoffs about it, and because he's done a lot of W coverage now, and we talked about how, look, Caitlin Clark moves the needle for us in sports media. You talk about Caitlin Clark, it was a rise. And then we talked about how when it became so people taking a side on things, anything Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was like, it just went crazy. I did not like it, Bob, like you, because what I think happened here, and I've spoken about this on other platforms, back in that championship game when Angel Reese and LSU won 2 years ago, and Angel Reese did the whole hand in the face thing.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. I like trash talking. It doesn't bother me. I don't even think Caitlin Clark had a problem with it.
I don't think she did either.
But people took it so out of context. And then it became, you got to like Caitlin Clark or you have to like Angel Reese. I love both players, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think Caitlin Clark is a generational talent.
They're fire and ice. That's what's great about it. They're fire and ice.
Yeah. And you know what? I like it. I do not think the ladies, do I think they're going to be best friends? No. Do I think they dislike each other? No. I think it is what it is.
You'd much rather them dislike each other. I don't want them to be best friends.
I agree.
I don't want them to be best friends. I want them to hate each other.
I agree. Obviously, hate in the way for on the basketball court.
Yeah, of course. Like Magic and Bird. Now they're friends with each other, but they hate each other. But the story where when Magic came down with HIV, Bird was the first one to call him. That whole thing, of course, you don't hate him, but when you're playing against him, you hate him.
It's competitive, and that's what I thought with that, Bob, was when I say we, I mean we as a society. I feel like we would see these things in male sports and be fine with it, but we have acted like we had no idea how to talk about it when it came to women. Well, there are dudes. Yeah, there are dudes in the NBA that don't like each other or contentious against each other, and it's cool. We keep it moving, and it's fine. Nobody cares. So what do we think? There wasn't going to be women that didn't like playing against each other. It's fine. I just didn't like when it took away from the basketball, because I think that for both of those young women, I think they were growing into themselves in the season. Caitlin Clark, you saw the struggles early on, which did not surprise me. She was going to a league with bigger, stronger women. And then she also played a lot of basketball. She had the Olympic break. She figured it out.
Yeah, they played amazing. 2 weeks later. They were starting the season.
Right. That's a lot. I don't think people were talking about that enough. She ends up finishing first team all WNBA. She ends up finishing rookie of the year. She had an amazing season. She's going to be fantastic. And there are other super talented ladies coming. Paige Beckers, Hannah Hidalgo, Juju Watkins. If you don't watch the WNBA, Bob, I'm not saying you or anybody, It's great basketball, and there are really dope ladies coming. So
It
if you
boggles
love
my
hoops,
mind.
watch.
Yeah, it boggles my mind that we get wrapped up in the Final Four, and then you don't care about the WNBA. I mean, like, right? Because they sell out 60,000 or 30,000, 40,000 for the Final Four, and then the WNBA, they can't get anything going. And people are like, oh, they're subsidizing the league, but they're turning a profit these last like 5 or 6 years.
I think it's the last two they have, and it's trending well. Look, they're expanding this year. Golden State Valkyries are coming in. Then the following year, they have two more teams coming in, Toronto and Portland. The expansion has been good. And like I said, there are really, really good players coming, and they have good personalities. And I think that's going to matter for the league, and that's where you're going to see it start to take off. The WNBA is healthy. It's growing in the right way. I think it's dope. It's dope that the Liberty won. There's really great players all over. Caitlin's going to do her thing and continue to draw interest and have people. And look, there's people that probably didn't watch the WNBA before. They're going to watch it because of Caitlin. Is it going to be a bunch of white fans from the Midwest?
Yeah, listen, yeah. I didn't like
you
how
know
it was,
what?
the black girl's the dirty
fine.
player and the Princess
I didn't like
Caitlin. I didn't like that either. But you know what? I was in Ronkonkoma train station getting a train back into the city here on the game one of the finals, I think it was. Train pulled in, ton of Liberty jerseys getting off. And it was mothers and daughters, too. It was a lot of mothers and daughters full of Liberty jerseys getting off the train in Ronkonkoma all the way out east.
All the way out east. I'll tell you another thing. I take my daughter to several Liberty games a year. She also loves going to see the Knicks, of course, too. But when I go to these games, I've been going the last couple of years as a fan a couple of times. I'll see fathers with their sons, and that's the other thing that I love too. I'm seeing families, sons and daughters. Everybody is there. It's probably, I would have to say, I think basketball in New York is always the most inclusive experience of all sports. I really do believe that. And women's basketball, maybe even so more. I mean, everybody's in there. Every race, every color, gender, everybody's in there. It's beautiful, and they're all cheering for the Liberty, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, in sports, I always said there's no reason to bring race into sports. As much as there is race in sports, listen, we don't care if he's black, if he's green, if he's orange, if he could win for my team. Like, I'll tell you what, one perfect example. I was pissed off last week when Neighbors was on the sideline laughing and joking with who was it, with the quarter. Like, what are you doing? We're sitting here, we're losing, we're getting killed, and you're over there laughing on the sideline. You're 2-8, you're the laughing stock of the league, and you're supposed to be our next big star, and you're on the sideline laughing with your old quarterback. You want to go have a beer with him after the game? Fine. Don't do it during the game while I'm sitting here paying my good money to watch you guys stink up the field, you know? So, like, and I don't care if he's blue, green, black, red. It doesn't matter to me. Win me some games, and I'm good with you.
Yeah, here's my thing with that, Bob. I think most fans, I really believe that. Like, I believe in humanity. I think most people think like that. Look, are there going to be some people that were excited to see Caitlin Clark play really well in the WNBA because she's a white player in a mostly black league? Yeah. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's like, that's like me saying I wasn't excited to see Tiger Woods do really great in golf, which is mostly white. It didn't bother me. I think it's fine to want to see yourself excel in a space that maybe there's not a lot of you. I understand that, especially as a black person. I understand that.
Yeah. Okay,
so I don't. My issue with it, and I think this is what you're saying, is there's a time when people take that too far.
Yeah,
you can take that too far, right? Like where you it becomes like you're protecting that person and they can do no wrong. That's when you're going too far with it. Cultural identity and rooting for somebody that looks like you, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. We all find pride in that, and that's
instinct. That's a human instinct. That's like a country pride thing too. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Right, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's cool. It's just when you take it too far, or it's then turning into having hate, what side you on, hateful words to the other person. That's where it's not cool. I'm not with that at all. And I think some of the conversation turned into that, and I didn't think that was necessary. And I think it took away from the really beautiful basketball we were seeing, particularly from those two women and also the other women around the league.
Yeah, she's Steph Curry, right? She's Steph Curry.
Yo, she is. She's one of the best shooters I've ever seen.
She's hitting half-court, 40-foot jumpers. I mean, crazy shots.
She's got infinite range. The thing I think that doesn't get talked about enough with her game is the passing. Her passing she's an elite level passer.
She's a point guard.
And yeah, she's an elite level passer. You have the ball in your hands. She got stronger. She's going to get better teammates around her. She uplifted the game of Aaliyah Boston, her teammate, who's amazing. The rookie of the year before. Yeah, man, the Fever are going to be really fun to watch. And now they have a new coach. Christy Sides coming over from Connecticut. The coach coming over from Connecticut, and so they're gonna be fun, man.
Well, just if you, until she fixes her slice on her drive, just make sure you stand behind her if you're in the gallery, because you don't want to
You don't want to get caught there.
You don't want to get caught up there. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Back to the Knicks that I really liked to see last night during the post-game show with who's the female broadcaster?
Monica McNutt. I know you're talking about Monica
she's
McNutt.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Monica.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Towns was doing shooting free throws.
Yeah.
In full uniform, empty garden. She's doing it. And I love that. I love that because you're a superstar, and you just scored 46 points. It's not like you had a bad night. You lost. That's probably killing him. He missed a couple free throws. He's there shooting free throws at 10:30 at night with an empty garden. I love to see that.
I like that from Towns. I saw that. I kept the post game on. I was sitting there reading. I looked up. I heard Monica come on and do her report and say that. And I saw Towns and I said, man, he missed 4 free throws and he went back and that pissed him off.
Yeah, pissed him off.
Because he knows that he hits 2 of those is the difference in the game, right? And he was the only one to miss free throws. And what that tells me, he understands it's the little things in the game of basketball, taking care of the ball, hitting your free throws, not allowing second chance points, all those things. That's why he was out there. That speaks a lot to Karl-Anthony Towns. There's a lot of people who call that man soft. I never thought he was soft. I always thought he made some stupid fouls in a lot of situations that I didn't necessarily like, particularly in the playoffs. But I never thought he was soft. And I think he's a hard worker. And I think it shows that. And I think he cares. I think he cares a lot. And this is why I believe Tibbs is going to get the best out of him in terms defensively. I really do believe that. I think he's going to make him a better defender. I think he can improve. I don't know if he's not going to become Mitchell Robinson. He's not going to become Rudy Gobert. But I think he could be an average defender. And I think if he can do that, that's going to help the Knicks a ton.
Now, today is a big day for you, right? And after you watch this show, go on over and watch New York Got Game. John Starks, right? You had John Starks on. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about the interview. How'd it go? I know you said he was your favorite player.
Yeah, John Starks was my guy, my favorite player growing up. Big time Starks fan. People know me growing up from Brooklyn. School I went to, Philippa Schuyler Middle School. I used to have my Starks jersey with me for gym all the time. So it's a crazy opportunity that came about. It wasn't my first time interviewing John. I'd interviewed him before, but the first time to do it is like a sit down interview.
Okay.
And John is a great guy. I think for me in my career, that probably, I think now people ask me like, what's one of your favorite interviews? That'll be that, because I think it means a lot to me. I wouldn't have thought, I said this in an interview, if you'd have told 10-year-old me, 8-year-old me, 11, 12, whatever, growing up watching John Starks, that you would interview him one day, I'd have been like, that's crazy. So it was an amazing moment. It meant a lot to me. I've recently lost both my parents in the last 5 years, and I think they would have loved to see that. I know they were smiling down on that one. So it was great. But talking to him, we talked about his career. Bob, we talked about the current Knicks team. He also believes that the Knicks fans have to be patient with this team, and they're going to get it together. He really believes the Knicks can win it all this year. You know, he said that to me before I saw him 2 days. I talked with him 2 days before they traded Randall. Okay. And I talked to him at an event, and he told me then he felt good about it, and he said he still feels good about it. He's not worried about Jalen Brunson. He really thinks his team can get better defensively. He and I are very much on the same page, and he just thinks, he said, and you'll see an interview, he wants them to be better quickly, like the fan part of him now, but he knows as a player that it takes time for them to gel. And so it's a really good interview. Check it out if you can. It's up on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel, New York Got Game special episode. We talked for about half an hour. We go into some things with his foundation. John Starks does a great job of giving back to the community. Bob, great.
Did he pull up in a Kia?
He I don't know if he pulled up in a Kia because he did drive. Drive. It's funny. I said to him, I said, hey, I said, how's the dealership going out in Briarwood? He said, oh man, it's still going good. Business is going good. So John is still moving those cars.
And
so
he was all over. He was all over it last year. He was under the hoop, front row. There was one play where I forget what series it was in. I thought he was about to run onto the court and grab the ball. He's down there with I think it was Latrell Sprewell and Carmelo
Marbury.
And Marbury. That's right. Yeah, they were almost like it was like the old guard watching, and they almost looked like the parents of the players. That's what they reminded me of.
We talked about that in the interview, and I said to him, that for me, because I was at almost every Knick playoff game last year, and I said for me, watching those, and I talked to all those guys, Sprewell, Camby, LJ, watching those guys enjoy it, like it was talking to them and then watching them enjoy it was something to behold, because those guys know the history of the Knicks. They know the energy of the fans. And we talked about what it's like playing in the playoffs in Madison Square Garden.
They were the last team.
Yeah,
they were the last team that we really had, like the last real.
You're right. That's a great point. And they're so connected to it. But John said something to me. He says in the interview, and I won't say too much because so people watch, but he talks about how exhausting it was being a fan, because he's now head of like the fan relations for the Knicks. And he says it was exhausting, and he has so much respect for fans and the energy they bring every game for the team. So yeah, I enjoyed watching. That was one of my favorite things, was watching those guys.
I said it was like they're like the parents. They look like the parents of the players. Yeah. Because they're so into it. They're so invested. At one point, I thought him and Marbury were going to run out onto the court and that's what it looked like. You had to be like hold each other back. Now, and I know exactly how you feel, because I get the same thing. Like with this show, and I got we had Steve Phillips on, and I said, you know what? I was like, if you would have told me when I was 10 years old that I'd be sitting here and I would have 40 minutes or whatever it was, an hour to sit down with Steve Phillips and ask him whatever I want, I was like, I can't even believe it. Because people always like, how do you get these guys on the show? I'm like, I just ask them. They're sports guys. They want to talk sports. Just like I want to talk sports, you want to talk sports. John Starks wants to talk basketball. So if he gets to go hang out, talk basketball, get a lunch out of it or something, he's in.
It's funny you say that. And I think it's a good point. We all do. And my wife was watching the interview today, and she said to me, I see so much joy on John's face. Like he really enjoys talking about it. And I think so. I think those older players specifically, even when I've talked to Clyde, I've been blessed to interview Clyde twice this year. And
who did you dress up for the Clyde? Because I know you're a big suit guy and everything.
So the first time I interviewed Clyde, it was like this. We did it over Zoom. And the second time I interviewed him, I was in person. And I had on like a salmon colored suit. And Clyde immediately was like, oh man, I like the fit. And that was like, man, that was like one of the biggest honors. So I said in an interview to him, I said, hey, you're the best sports guy in New York. Like, what do you think of my fit? And he said, it's great. He said, you're number 2. I said, listen, I will take being number 2 to Walt Clyde Frazier any day.
Yeah. I'll say it as a compliment. You're poor man's Clyde Frazier when it comes to dressing up in the suits.
I will take that compliment, Bob. I appreciate you. I try to take some pride in my fits, and it's great. But these guys, like you said, they want to talk sports. They love talking about sports. They love talking about the current team, the old days. And as content creators, journalists, it's amazing to be able to have these great conversations. And I think when I have one like I did with John Starks, it makes me appreciative of what I do. And you can't take these moments for granted. Like you got to appreciate the journey and every part of it. You can't take it for granted. So, I'm blessed to have the opportunity. It was a kind of a full circle moment for me. It's one I will never forget.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks. Salute to John. Salute to Ryan and Leah from the Garden for hooking it up.
Hey, I do it for free. You at least get paid for it. I gotta go to jail to pay the bills. I mean,
yeah. But hey, that speaks to the passion and why you do a good show, though, right, Bob?
Of course. I like to think.
I want to let the people know, because Bob just said something. Bob is right, and just so people know, Bob just reached out to me. Bob, when did we connect? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was about a year ago, maybe something like that, a year and a half ago.
And Bob reached out to me, and Bob, has a good product of what he does and loves talking sports, and we're just New Yorkers that like to talk sports, and that's the passion I like to see. So I think when I see I can only speak for me personally, but when I see the passion in other people and what they're doing in their content, it's beautiful. Bob's going to be on more with me. I got Bob coming on another show with me. I'm getting Bob
in studio. I'm going to be sitting where Starks is sitting.
Yes, we're going to be sitting in the same place. I got Bob coming to studio very soon. We're going to make that happen soon.
Well, Starks is sitting where I'm going to be sitting. Starks
there you go. That's how you say it to your friends, Bob.
That's right. Dexter, tell everyone where they can find it, where they can find you, the show, everything. Like, go give yourself a little selfless promotion here.
Yeah, you can follow me on all social media platforms at DHenryTV. You can see the show, New York Got Game, our weekly basketball show, drops every Monday at 12 p.m. So at noon, every Thursday, generally, most weeks we'll be doing a live show. So tonight, live show. I'm not hosting it because I have another commitment, but my co-host, Brian Fonseca, will. We do Knicks Weekly Live. We do that. Rapid Rundown, New York Sports Rapid Rundown, that comes out every Saturday. usually about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. This week we're not having an episode. We'll be back next week with another one. Bob will be on soon. Trust me, people. Bob is coming on. Been waiting to get Bob on.
Right.
I need to get Bob on at a time where he can rant about some of his teams.
Yeah, I'm a very glass half empty type of guy. You want.
I know this, but this is why I like you for it.
The show's so much better when the teams stink. As much as it is, the show's probably so much better when the teams stink. Although we did good with the Mets this year, and the Yankees and everything. It's good with a run. But Dexter, thanks for coming. Listen, what would we have been doing here? Middle of the day, what's today? Thursday? I don't never know what day it is. So don't get me wrong. Thursday?
It's Thursday, unbelievably.
What was better than this? Sitting here talking some Knicks, right?
It was good, man. Great to talk some Knicks. Great to see you always, Bob. Keep up the great work you do as a CEO and hosting the show. Appreciate you, man.
My man, Dexter Henry, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Thanks, Dexter.
Yep.
How about that? Thank you to Dexter Henry, one of the good guys. He's always does the show. He always comes on anytime I want. And check out that John Starks interview at New York Got Game. You can find that online. You can catch him on SNY with the shorts, with the rapid rundown. He does all the online content for New York Post and New York Got Game, one of the better basketball shows out there. I watch it every week. Does it with Stephen Bondi, and it's really an excellent show. If you're a Knicks fan or if you're just a basketball fan, check it out because it's really one of the best shows out there. And he's one of the best guys. I love Dexter, and can't wait to get in studio. How cool is that going to be? So I'll keep you updated on that when that happens. Rangers win tonight, 3-1 over the Sharks. Their 10th win. The Knicks, of course. Listen, that was a rough loss last night, right? It's still early, of course, and I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team. It's not looking at like a Jets situation here, I don't think. But you don't want to fall too far behind, and to be 7 games behind the Cavs, who've yet to lose, and to be behind the Celtics, you don't want to dig yourself a hole where you're going to be fighting for the 4th or the 5th seed come playoff time, and then then you're going to find yourself in danger of not even advancing in the playoffs. But I think they'll gel. They'll be fine. As far as the Brendan Brown thing goes, if the Knicks did not mention it and do anything for his death, then shame on them. It's a bad look for the team. I watched the game last night. I didn't see anything. I feel like they should have done something. And like I said, if I'm the only one mentioning it, then I don't know. But I didn't see anything. I haven't heard anything. And you'd think just because of Hubie. I mean, Hubie was a big part of this franchise. He was a broadcaster for a long time. He was a coach. His son was a broadcaster. And he passed away at 50-something years old. You got to mention it, right? You got to at least do moment of silence or video tribute or something. And I don't think they did anything. And if they did, then I apologize. And if they didn't, then shame on the Knicks, because that's just a bad job. And, of course, our condolences go to Hubie and the rest of the family, the Brendan Brown family. I spoke to him just like 4 weeks ago about coming on the show. We were emailing back and forth. So it's a shame. And, like I said, if the Knicks did something, then my bad for mentioning it. But if they didn't, then shame on them. So that's going to do it for us. Don't forget, you can email the show at lockedupsportsshow@gmail.com, lockedupsportsshow@gmail.com. Your questions, comments, anything on your mind, send us over an email. You could also rate, review, and subscribe on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it be Spotify or Apple or Google or Amazon. We're all over the place. So, and as always, you could find us and anything you want to know about the show on our website, lockedupsports.net, lockedupsports.net. So once again, thank you to Dexter Henry. Check out his John Starks interview with New York Got Game. And, thanks as always for coming on, and thanks for watching and listening. Rangers win tonight. Knicks lose last night. They got a home and home starting tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with a Football Friday show. And that's going to do it for us. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. See ya.